So quite a few people asked if we could do a making of film of the lockdown movies that we shot. Well, the difficulty with that, of course, is there wasn't anybody else in the house filming us filming it. I mean, our hands were very full with the filming. Just the three of us, obviously. So, and usually if one or two of us was in front, the third was operating the camera or moving something or having to hold things or just running off if it was Ben. So there wasn't really a lot of opportunity to get behind the scenes footage. What I can do is show you some of the stuff we used to make it and have a little chat about some of the things and show you some of the shots without their effects on and things like that, and maybe couple of outtakes. We didn't get many outtakes because actually it went quite smoothly, and I've dumped all the rushes from the first two films anyway, but we do have a handful of outtakes from film 3, so I'll stick a couple of those on the end of this just for fun. Yeah, so I think the first thing we can do is show you like what some of the shots look like before the effects get put on. So for the flying ships, I shot the models against green screen for the scenes when they're flying quite often. And you can see we just hung them with a thread and usually tip the camera on its side so the thread isn't at the top but is actually coming out the back or underneath or a place where you're not expecting to see it. And you get rid of most of that when you're using the green screen anyway. I decided to keep the threads quite visible in the shots where the ships were landing and stuff to keep that kind of Thunderbirds, Jerry Anderson, homemade kind of quality about some of it. I think that's part of the fun, not making the films overly slick. And then when you're shooting little tiny models, you want to make them look heavier and weightier. So what you tend to do is film it in slow motion. So you do stuff quickly, like just dropping things or throwing things into the shot. It adds extra weight. Plus you add in a few sort of plugins of explosions and things, the special effects that you can stick over the top. And suddenly you get this big impact, which makes a huge difference. And the same with the Star Wars ships in the last film when they're landing in the garden. You know, I mean, when you see it sort of not slowed down, it's just a plastic ship going clunk, and then you add all the special effects, and suddenly you get all this. So it's the Sunday morning after the Star Wars shoot, and we're now dismantling the sets. That's the already started pulling apart the one for the Sith fighter, and then if you come around the other side, this is where I built the one for Lily's fighter, although I rejigged it at the end to sort of where I was doing the hollow projections and stuff. But it's all just cardboard boxes and bits of old model kits and little heaters that we use in the conservatory.
We must remain positive. This too will pass eventually. Order will be restored.
The back of them is far less exciting than the front. We haven't got rid of all the cardboard that we used to make the sets because you never know, we might make another film at some point. So I've kept all the cardboard down here, blocking up my back door, just in case I decide to make another one.
Lily's binoculars that she used to spot Master Yoga and Ben and the thing, which are basically 2 Lucozade bottles taped together with a few bits and pieces salvaged off of old model kits that I never built, tanks and spacecrafts, and even the bits of plastic that actually the bits of kit get fixed to, and that's all put together to create her funky Star Wars binoculars.
So one of the really fun things about making the films was putting all the props together, and in the most recent one, in the Star Wars one that we just did, I liked using these Nerf guns that you can get. These lovely bright orange Star Wars style Nerf guns are great. Now we had a couple of them. Well, we had this one already, and I bought one, which is the other one, and we resprayed it. So that used to look like that, but I gave it a bit of a respray, and you add all the sort of scratches of the silver and stuff. But the great thing is, it still makes a noise. So that's quite cool. You can't read Star Wars when it's on the film, you know, but that's quite a handy little thing. So I used that noise to locate the sound and then replace that in the film with a extra sound as well. And these are the steampunk flying boats from the first 2 films, which are sitting in my studio. next to my Fireman Sam toys. Oh, let's hope I never grow up. So I love doing this. The kit bashing, again, you've got a tugboat model kit with some Ed 209 guns on the side, and then a bit of a radio controlled car stuck to the back with little bits of Boba Fett's spaceship on there. And then at the front you've got these poles. They're just drinking straws and cocktail sticks to sort of fit it all together. Motor torpedo boat with little bits of X-wing stuck to it. Cogs, of course, always lots of cogs. You need those for steampunk. And this one, which I really love, this little brown tugboat, which was Ben's one from the first film. Again, nice little tugboat with pieces of Star Wars kit and cogs and goodness knows what, and drinking straws stuck on it. Ah, fun and games. And now there's ornaments in my studio. One of the things I talked about a little bit earlier on was the binoculars, the binoculars that we made for Lily when she's looking out of the thing, the Star Wars binoculars. And as I said when we were doing them, that's a kit bashing thing. So what you do is you buy a load of model kits, so you have them hanging around already anyway, and then you play around with them. You've got all these bits and pieces that are left over from model kits that you buy. There's some little bits I didn't use off of one of the sort of Star Wars kits that I used when I was making the steampunk ships, and I've got a whole box full of bits and pieces here. These bits, these turned up in the cockpit of the TIE fighter for the Sith. They were also used on the tabletop miniatures for the steampunk stuff quite a lot as well, so they kept turning up. They used to be part of an old Borg cube toy, which is quite cool. And then there's little bits of an old Ed 209, which also cropped up a few times in the thing. This was the base of an old a Star Trek figure. Like these figures I have all in my studio here that I used to make years ago. And these are the bases for them, with a little bit of a Star Wars, I think that's Boba Fett's spaceship, a little bit of that stuck on it. So that's the fun I've been having. Can you see a little red dot on the screen?
And action.
Okay. Good. We'll go one more for luck.
Okay, still rolling.
Yeah, keep it rolling. And go. Okay, I'll be ready. And action. Freeze. Wait, stay in position. When I turn my head, you do your jump. Ready? Now go. Cut. Turning over. Ready? Action.
And rolling.
Over hill, over dale, through a bush, through a briar, over path, over pale, through a flood, through a fire. I do wander everywhere, swifter than the moon's sphere.
Be involved in the scene. Okay. I love it.
If you look around when you're walking in the woods, you'll see us everywhere, often just in the corner of your eye. But we are there.
Like a dream.
Yes. That is like a thought or a dream.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Like a thought, yes, or a dream. That was my fault. Okay, ready? We'll go again. Your helmet's squiff.
Dad? Ah, forgot the line!
Pigeon.
Cut.
No, we aren't Jedi.
Jedi.
What's a Jedi?
Ready? Rolling it?
Action.
No, it looks like the camera. Okay.
You saw your hands when you went like...
I've got to do one more, yeah. Okay.
Well.
You know, that was hammy.
Ready? Turning over and
Lunch.
your shoulders. You're in really weird shape. Can you just do that? Can you have why can't you have your shoulders down?
Looks just like this.
Lunch? Yeah, that's it. Okay, right, okay, ready? I know. Like a chimp. Right, okay, let's go again. Ready? And go. Oh.
Lunch.